Welcome back to the Design School, Understanding Adobe Illustrator Series, Part 2. You'll remember from last time, we learned how to lay down anchor points, how to apply color to shapes, how to edit the anchor points, and how to switch from outline to preview mode in Adobe Illustrator. Today we're going to learn the versatile editing features of the stroke palette and more about editing vector paths. Start by grabbing the pen tool, and I'm going to lay down some anchor points. I can drag out handles if I click on the mouse, hold down, and move the mouse. That gives me handles. I'm going to go ahead and make some of those handles, and now I'm going to join the beginning and end points by hovering over and clicking. And there's my shape. Now I'm going to go in and add some anchor points. Illustrator lets me select anchor points by holding down the Shift key and hovering over and clicking. So I've selected an anchor point there. I'm going to select another one here. I can actually take those selected anchor points and move only those by moving the mouse. If I want to edit out any of those anchor points, that's easy enough. Grab the delete anchor point tool and just hover above that anchor point and click. So I have an interesting shape now. Let's see what we can do with the stroke. You control the color of the stroke by clicking on the color picker, double click on the color picker, and as I did with the fill, I can move the color picker around anywhere and get any color I would like. And click OK, and that's my stroke. Now you can't see it very well yet, so I'm going to pull out my stroke palette and I'm going to boost up the size so that we can see what's going on. I'm going to create a couple of visual aids here to help describe the cap and corner values in the stroke palette. I can see that even more if I raise my weight value a bit. So we have butt cap, round cap, and projecting cap. Okay. On the corner values, I'm going to create a rectangle here. And you'll notice we have a bevel joint here. I'm going to move it to a miter joint and then a round joint. Going back to my vector shape, I can assign how the stroke is aligned to my shape. It's either centered or aligned on the inside of my stroke or aligned on the outside of my stroke. I can create a dashed line out of my stroke by clicking the dashed line box, and I can add values to make my dashes different sizes. If I have my stroke aligned to the center, I have the option to add arrowheads by pulling down from the list. I could also create another arrowhead on the opposite end. If I want to scale my arrowheads, I can pull them back a bit individually for each side. The last option on the path tool is to create a profile for your path. An elliptical profile creates a taper at each end. An oblong profile creates another interesting variable. The direction of the profile can be changed by clicking the flip along or flip across option. Now that you understand how the stroke and fill work, let's get a little practice using the pen tool. I'm going to actually select the ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold down Shift and click and pull the mouse to any direction, and I'm going to get a perfect circle. In order for Illustrator to draw a perfect circle, the handles that it creates for each anchor point will look something like this. So when I go to create my own circle, I'll use 4 anchor points total in my vector path. Now I'm going to lock it and use it as a template. The fewer anchor points I can use to create an object, the better. So I'm going to start at the top, pull out handles, go to the side, pull out another handle till I get the curve that I want. Then I'm going to go to the bottom. Illustrator is going to complete that curve for me just by clicking. I'll have to do a little adjusting. And then I'm going to go to the next side. I'll have to pull the curve on that one a little bit more and then complete the circle at the top. Once I've created my circle, I can actually come back in and edit. Right now I'm using the direct select tool, and I've just grabbed the center of that line and I'm pulling it around. And you can see I get pretty close that way. It looks like I need to get a little closer here. So next, so you can get a lot of practice with the pen tool, create your own templates, or you can download the one that I've provided here and just start playing. You might want to zoom in to one item at a time and just trace the paths. You'll find yourself deciding quickly the best place to put anchor points. Sometimes it's a matter of moving around anchor points. Sometimes it's a matter of adding or deleting anchor points. Really, you just need to spend time with the tool to get good at it. Usually what I do is I take a first pass knowing that I'm going to go back in and edit if it's a critical job. Sometimes my first pass is just fine. So now, for example, I'm going to go back in, zoom in once more, and I'm going to clean up these lines and try to make them exactly like the template that I've created. And that's probably close enough for most work that you'll be doing. So grab the pen tool and practice your skills by creating your own template, or you can download this template, and here's the address for that. So let's review what we've covered here in Lesson 2. We've learned how to apply colors to a stroke. We've learned how to change the stroke weight. We've learned how to add end caps, dashes, and arrowheads. We've learned to edit with the direct select tool. We've learned how to practice by creating our own templates or downloading the template from the Proven Media website. I'd like you to practice using the pen tool to create strokes, practice editing those strokes, so that you become very familiar with the pen tool. We'll look forward to seeing you next time in Lesson 3.